Insights with Terri Coots, a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Coots. Here's Terri.
Hi everyone, this is Terri, and you are listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Thank you for joining me to explore together the week of June the 8th through the 15th. We are going to continue a little bit of the podcast and as far as a theme goes last week. So if you didn't listen to last week's or you weren't able to hear it, you might want to take a listen so that you are not left wondering where did this come from. We're going to continue talking a little bit about either whatever you want to call it, telepathy, radio waves, collective conscious, however you want to put the label on it, it's still the same kind of energy. It's communication that is transferred non-verbally. It happens in plants, in animals, in trees, people, if they're open to it and they have a quiet mindset. It doesn't occur when things are jumbled. And certain people, it's easier than for other people. Oftentimes with maybe brain concussions or brain issues, it becomes a little bit more apparent, but it's not necessary. So we're going to discover that, but we're going to find out where the planets are and how is that facilitating this increase in them wanting to teach us about communicating with not just our mouth. So we have Gemini, which is the communicator. So we have Gemini in the sun sign, and we also have Gemini in Mercury. Mercury is the planet of the mind. It's the planet of conscious communication, of being able to process, and how do we take these incidences or experiences that we have, and how do we process it? Where are we on the other side of that? And then on the 9th of this week, that's going to travel into Cancer, which is the very psychic energy field in the zodiac. So Cancer energy from the communication of Gemini will allow us to get into the feelings and the understanding of how the other person may be receiving the information, be it body language, be it a sense of. So we're going to explore some of that as well. Venus, the planet of love, beauty, attraction, that's in Aries. Aries is a fire sign, and that's been a challenge because a lot of relationships of people that I've known took a big hit during this time. It's kind of a predestined thing because it's a fire sign, and it burns away the lies that we tell ourselves. It burns away the denial. It burns away the ability to pretend nothing's wrong. Mars is battle, Mars is fight, Mars is war. So we're willing to go to war for something better or not settle for something less. That will be moving on the 7th of this week into Taurus. Taurus is more stable. It's the bull, right? So very determined, very strong-minded, earthy, very, very grounded kind of energy, not that explosive, impulsive fire. It should help us a little bit. And we can use some help in relationships right now. And the planet Mars is in Leo. And that is a fire sign as well. That'll be changing before too very long. But that is a fire sign as well. So there has been a lot of fire signs. And the wind, the air of Gemini fanning the flames of change and burning something off, cleansing, so to speak. Now, just a warning, heads up, not a bad warning, just a warning. The full moon will occur on the 11th of this week, and that is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius energy in the position that it is, and with where the planets are, is the seeking of truth, the seeking of positive. Where is this going to land, and how can I make this the best that it could possibly be? Now, the full moon gives us energy. It gives us optimism. We've heard the term lunatic. It comes from the moon, lunacy. So we've got to be careful not to err on the side of extreme. Try to keep yourself as balanced as you possibly can. As I said, Mercury is turning into Cancer, a very psychic energy on the 9th. And the ruling planet of Cancer is the moon. So we're going to have some really moon type of energy, which is leaning towards that intuitive energy, trying to figure out, I'm going to say nonverbal communication. How does this feel? The beginning of the week, if you have a vulnerability physically, with your stomach, your small intestines, your digestive tract, there'll be a little bit more pressure on you. And if you haven't had it and you eat the wrong food, you're going to know it. So it's a vulnerable area in the beginning to the middle of the week. So just take care of that little tummy. Pancreas don't like fat. So if you are weak in that area, vulnerable in that area, don't overdo. Don't ask for more than what they can deliver. You'll notice the bad side effects. Then towards the end of the week, that's going to move to kidneys, the bladder, urinary tract. So if you are weak and vulnerable in that area, take care and be respectful of those body parts. That is what we've got for this week as far as body parts go. Now, I would like to maybe just discuss some of the pushings of the psychic energy towards understanding nonverbal communication. So working with the dogs, for me, that lends itself to nonverbal communication. It's an energy field that allows for us to look at what is the body saying? What is it that I need to look at to understand that maybe logic won't dictate? Maybe we can look at what am I feeling? What is that person feeling? What waves are coming after me? So that's an energy field that we need to look at to develop that nonverbal communication. And that is really, really important for us right now, because they're sending us opportunities to practice. And if we're not open-minded or we're not open to it, I don't mean we have to be stupid or that we have to be gullible, but we do need to be quiet-minded, open-minded, to be able to understand it, or to be a recipient of it or a projector of it. So if your mind is going 1,000 miles an hour and you've got a ton of stuff on your mind, this isn't going to work, because we need a quiet mind. So one of the cards that came up is seclusion. In our culture, it's very hard to find a quiet place. I'm fortunate. I have a lot of land around me, and the birds make more noise than anything else. A little bit of traffic. The dogs can be loud. Parrots can be loud too. Okay, I take that back. It can be very loud here, but in a different way. So you may need to find a place where you can find that quiet mind. It might be just before you go to bed. It might be just in that lucid dreaming time where you direct your dreams, if you've had the opportunity to do that. But seclusion will be very important, and that means we have to kind of go quiet on our own. Now, telepathy has been named very many different labels. It can be telepathy, it can be intuition, it can be collective consciousness, shared consciousness. Some people wonder, with some of the experiments that they've done, is maybe there's information that travels on the radio waves. Now, that being said, I've had occasion to read documentation of the fillings that go into some of our heads and some of our teeth with a carbonized type of mineral, and that can turn into a conductor. So with the right conditions, this conductor has made noises or sounds or music or a broadcast in our mouth. As weird as that sounds, there is documentation of it. Maybe being in the right space at the right time with the right vibration of radio waves, with that carbon and metal in our mouth, maybe holding our jaw a certain way. I wouldn't take credit for it, but it does happen. So there's a lot that we don't understand about radio waves and communication and the electrical energy that it takes. Now, one of the autistic children that they were doing some documentation on that is nonverbal, uses a spell board, can't cannot speak but can spell, and that's not an unusual thing for them to use as a modality of communication once they're enabled to be able to take advantage of that, was trying to describe to his mother. She'd gotten him some stones, and he prayed over the stones, and she wondered what he was doing. And when he was able to communicate with her, because he was nonverbal and he did learn spelling, that the stones were energy magnets, that they held energy, certain frequencies. And this young man's name was Houston, and he wanted these stones. He wanted them in his room. He wanted to work with them. And he was trying to communicate to the people around him that all living things see and hear. Now, maybe not the way you and I describe seeing and hearing, but it's a vibration that you're aware of. It's maybe a picture that's in your mind, so we would equate that to seeing. So when I'm with animals, when I'm with the plants, when I'm with the trees, stones, quartz, crystals, there is an electric energy that is transmissible, that comes from them, that you can receive and you can offer. It's an electrical energy. And when you practice it, and when you're aware of it, and you become maybe more conscious of using it or working with it, it becomes more available to you. So they have discovered, this is science, that trees do communicate. There's warnings that they have in electrical energy. I mean, not like a tree can get up and run because a forest fire is coming, but there is an electrical energy that they transmit. Grass, now this kills me. I was told that when you cut grass, that beautiful smell that cut grass is actually an electrical energy chemical of warning that, trouble's coming. We're getting our hair cut severely. They can't get up and run, but there is a transmission that occurs. Some trees will drop their seeds, like a walnut tree, and there's a toxin in it, and no other tree can grow near a walnut tree. As long as the walnuts are dropping in that area, it doesn't invite other trees to take its space and nurture it to grow in its area. And they have found that the roots of trees can transmit information to each other. Now that's a whole science. That's a 10 podcast season, and I won't get into it. If you're interested, I'm sure that you'll look it up because it is available. So when we look at all of that, we're missing a whole big part of our lives and our experience by not taking advantage of being able to maybe communicate with our animals in ways that we didn't know was available, that they can read our minds to a degree, to an animal degree, that they can feel what we're feeling. They're aware of our emotions. They have emotions. They can mirror those emotions. We are now in a culture where more dogs are on psychedelic drugs than at any other time. And can you imagine when our pets have to be on an antidepressant or a Valium, or the plethora of drugs that we have our dogs on to make them quote unquote normal? What kind of a culture are we living in when we have to drug our pets to be pets? It's frightening. It's just frightening. So instead of looking at ourselves to say, what are we doing that's contributing to our pet stress and unwellness? How are our lives unbalanced? We just give them a pill and tell them to go lay down. So we have so much to learn from plants, from trees, from animals, and from the universe. And now is the time that the universe is offering that to us. In that, one of the cards that came up is joy. It's an emotional fulfillment that's going to be offered to us if we take advantage of that. If we don't, the Tower came up. And the Tower is a tough one. It's one of the tougher cards in the deck. And that means that life as we know it implodes. Because it has to. It's not sustainable. It can't keep going this way. So something has to give. So it's like maximum pressure, eventually, twang, it's gone. So we're at this kind of turning point in our evolution do we jump on the boat and try to work more esoterically, more in line, more in balance with nature, with weather, with people, learn more about things that we don't believe in that are possible? Or do we close our minds and just keep mulling around and being lemons and going off the cliff? That's really our choice in the next little bit. So I want you to spend some time with yourself, if you can, this week, is in maybe quiet moments, maybe just before you go to sleep or just when you wake up. Don't jump right out of bed unless the dog has to go to the bathroom, or you hear boo, 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 and you know you're going to have a mess to clean up and you got to get them out. Just spend some quiet moments just being, allowing yourself to be a vector for the transmission of the universe. It may not happen to your awareness at that moment in time, but I guarantee in the next little bit, some idea is going to come to you that you will know for sure that that is not your idea. That came from somewhere outside of yourself. Or you can say self, inside of yourself, but you know it's not your normal way of thinking. So this is an energy field that's going to allow us, if we choose, to maybe go to another level, to use another paradigm, to look at things in a very, very different way. So on that note, I'm going to leave you thinking about it. I have a couple more episodes that I would like to talk to you about things like the book that came out, Dogs That Know When Their Owners Are Coming Home. That's written by a doctor. The Elephant Whisperer, which is a documentary of a fellow that did have psychic communications with an elephant herd. Fabulous book. I just loved that book. I hated to see that book go away. So we're going to spend the next couple of episodes just discussing this nonverbal communication. If you're interested in experimenting yourself, that window of opportunity, not through me, but is going to be available through the planets, the way the planets are arranging themselves with that type of energy that is going to allow us to do that. On that note, I want to thank Charlie so much for putting up all the podcasts on the platforms that he has, and for allowing that to happen and using his time to do that. And don't be afraid to, thank you very much, Charlie, to tune into his Big 8 Radio. That's the number 8 radio.com. If you love music, or even if you like music, he's got the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s up there, and you cannot be in a bad mood and listen to that voice and that music. So thanks, Charlie, for doing that. And if you would like a reading for yourself or help with your animal, I would be so honored to work with you. My number that you can call or text is 519-726-6699. Or you can email me at terri.coutts@gmail.com. And I would like to take this one moment to thank my 15 dogs and my 6 parrots for being quiet. They were so noisy all day. They were monsters. And I asked them, please, just give me 10 minutes of silence so that I can get this podcast done, please. And they did. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I enjoyed the 10 minutes of silence. So thank you, universe and dogs, for reading minds. All of you have a wonderful week. Hope that we get together again next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Visit Terri's website at terriworld.com. TERRI world.com.